All right. Thank you, everyone. Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, wherever you're joining us from in the world. We're happy to have you at this webinar. My name is Miracle Chukudebe, and I am going to be your host for today's session. I'm Miracle Chukudebe, and I am the head of managed security services at Ethnos IT Solutions. And of course, Ethnos IT Solutions is a leading cybersecurity firm in Nigeria, providing managed security services as well as security integrations for organizations within and outside Nigeria. We're proud partners with Cypherma, a global leader in threat intelligence and security analytics. Today, we are joined by Dirk. Dirk is a senior sales consultant with Cypherma. Dirk, thanks for being here. Can you hear me?
I can hear you very well, Miracle. Thank you for having me, and good afternoon to everyone else who've just joined.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Dirk. So, today's webinar, like I know we all know, has to do with talking about initial access brokerage. And we're going to be throwing more light as to how much this is a big thing right now in the security ecosystem of the world, how even businesses across the world, both within Nigeria, within Africa, and the rest of the world, needs to be aware of some of these things. So we want to open more light into it. And of course, at the end of it all, we're going to see how Cypherma is going to help organizations with protecting themselves against some of these things. All right. So for us to get started today, Dirk, do you want to tell us a little about initial access brokerage? First off, before we get
Sure,
into initial access.
happy to. Let me share my screen for that.
Right.
So, is my screen visible? I hope so.
Not yet. It's coming up. Oh, yes. It is visible.
Okay, perfect. Okay, so and again, thank you for the invitation and also to join you on this webinar. Let me just briefly introduce myself first. For Cypherma, I'm leading the pre-sales organization, and with that, I am in interaction with customers of various background, context, out of various situations. And representing Cypherma means that we are looking at specific aspects of the cyber kill chain or the cyber attack chain. The one or other might be familiar with that particular procedure. So this is an agnostic model of how threats, how attacks are executed towards organizations. And what we are doing as Cypherma is we are clearly focusing on level 1 and 2. Why is that of importance and important to understand? It's a very simple answer. Traditional solutions, traditional approaches with their services, with tools and practitioners are always looking at something between level 3 and level 4. So actually, this is what we call boom time when an attack is executed towards an organization. You have your firewalls, your endpoint protection, you have your data inspection monitoring, and all these principles of a multi-layered security strategy executed. We are looking at stage 1 and 2 for a simple reason. The execution of an attack requires preliminary preparation, and that is tied to a longer time frame, which means that threat actors need to evaluate if and with what risk and what outcome is a specific organization approachable or is not, and what are the low-hanging fruits out of the technological context to exploit and infiltrate an organization. And that is the important part, because that is something which is adding another layer to that particular security strategy. So our objective as Cypherma is we would like to answer the simple question: how attractive or non-attractive are you to threat actors before you're hit by threat actors. We do this out of two different directions. So one is we take care of the exposition of an organization, their approachable IT assets, is it IT, IoT, etc., or OT on the one hand, and on the other side, we are also observing the threat landscape. And this is where the terminology intelligence and threat intelligence becomes a value or valuable. This is where we are able then to also understand who are the players, what are they doing, how are they operating, what are their motives, their objectives, their TTPs, how they are communicating, and also something we would like to unfold also this kill chain, which can be also taken as a supply chain. So we would like to have more insights into the threat landscape. And this is also then one of the key essence which I would like to talk about today with the initial access brokerage. So the cyber kill chain or the supply chain is something which can be understood clearly as a supply chain because the typology, the characteristics of threat actors are usually that one threat actor group is not executing on all levels of that particular kill chain. You have threat actor groups who have a great expertise in reconnaissance, or they have a great expertise in weaponization or deliver and deployment. And this is something where all these individual groups and the activities tie together. You can take it also with a let's say legal example to this. Manufacturing a car. So of course you have all these big brands delivering a car, but the individual parts and bits and pieces of the car, they are delivered towards that manufacturer, and
That's right.
they don't care actually for which car a particular plastic piece is then used, to lift the windows up and down. Is it for Volkswagen or is it for Chrysler? They don't care.
That's
And
right.
this is also the situation with us here. So the question is, as cyber defense practitioners, is it possible to break the kill chain? And also, out of the perspective of threat actor, is it possible to optimize and rationalize the cyber kill chain? As I've explained before, reconnaissance and weaponization is an exercise which did take weeks and months. And obviously, this is time invested where threat actors would like to see a return of that particular investment. So the ROI should be quick and high. So the question is it possible to optimize and rationalize? And out of our observations, we've come across an interesting methodology or method within the threat landscape, which is called initial access brokerage. So what is an initial access broker or brokerage?
Great.
IABs are lockpicks for the security world. They are door openers for the threat actors, with which they are able then to infiltrate malware, ransomware, start with espionage or APT strategies. So what is the role of an IAB? They rationalize the reconnaissance. Simply as that. If you think about a usual reconnaissance procedure where organizations are identified to be possibly vulnerable because there is a new zero-day exploit out there, still, threat actors need to take care whether or not an organization is compromisable. They need to understand what are patch cycles, how often are systems patched, how immediately are systems patched. Do they have also for the human interaction security awareness training conducted? So does that raise or lower the risk of social engineering? So there are all these questions, and all these is connected with with a huge effort and long time. And with an IAB, they're able to simplify the reconnaissance exercise and also to shorten the time which is required to execute reconnaissance. There's one aspect. The other aspect is once an IAB is identified and available, it is a high paid asset within the threat actor landscape.
Mm.
For a simple
That's right.
reason. Yeah, for a simple reason. We're looking not at regular leaked credentials. We're looking at credential sets which are related to privilege or administrative permissions within an IT infrastructure.
Mm.
This is the key essence of an IAB. Because
That's
with
right.
that, they not only have access, but they also have privileged access, and that is the risk. So,
Fantastic. Sorry, Dirk, to cut you there. In fact, you're about, answering the next question that I had in mind, because it is one thing to establish who these guys are and what they do, what IABs are and what they do, which you have done a great job with it integrating that you've actually demystified it. What exactly they do, they are trying to help to fast track the process of hacker activities. They're part of the kill chain, they're part of the chain rather, and they're just trying to make sure that organizations are porous, doing reconnaissance, weaponizations, etc. So thank you so much, Dirk. The next point I want to ask is, what exactly are the risks associated with these guys, IABs? What exactly is the risk that they pose to organizations, especially organizations who may consider security as an afterthought, an organization who does not exactly care about protecting their assets. They just want to be in business, continue doing business. What exactly does IAB or do IAB pose? What are the risks that it pose to such kind of businesses?
So the risk is clearly very simple. Initial access brokerage with privileged and administrative accounts is the golden key into your organization.
Mm,
That's the risk, right?
that's
Because we need to understand one thing. Threat actors are not hacking for the sense of the meaning of hacking. These individuals, they have decided for a professional path, like you and I did at some point in our history, where they said, well, I do have a specific talent, and how can I use my talent to generate a decent outcome? And then you have the ones who are saying, well, I'm good in selling things. I can, become a car dealer, and I feel that I will be successful with that. And then you have other individuals with, let's say, a less criminal barrier. Well, they say, well, I'm good at selling stuff. I'll become a drug dealer, right? So this is where they made the decision. Quick and easy money. That's short-sighted, to be honest, but that's their thinking. And also then accepting and acknowledging that there is a decent risk level associated with that decision or not. So this is number one. Number two is we as organizations, we are in a competitive situation. If I am a car manufacturer, I'm not only in a competitive situation with the other car brands, I'm also in a competitive situation with threat actors. Today's business, how it's operated and how it's driven, we understand that the industry 4.0 and the digital transformation has not only happened, it's already achieved.
That's
in
right.
most of the situations. So, which means that a lot of business relevant operations, information, data has been transformed into digital assets and digital based procedures and processes. I mean, who can think of a situation where somebody has sent a fax to another organization just to purchase something, which will then be introduced into the production chain? This is all completely digitalized. Yeah, patent descriptions, construction plans, customer lists, everything which is the golden asset, the golden and crown jewel of an organization is digitalized. And this is the competitive situation. This data is obviously important for the organization because it justifies the corporate's success. finally the financial succession. On the other side, it is also in goal by threat actors because they understand also how to make money out of these digital assets in a different way than this organization does, because then they apply malware, ransomware, um, um, triple distortion is now history. It's a quadruple distortion, for instance, when we look at the recent ransomware activities. And this is the situation of competition around the crown jewels in the likes of digital assets and data of an organization. And that's the risk. If you think about that, and I have screenshots actually available out of the darknet where these IAB assets are being either put for sale or being asked for, and you would be surprised how much there is and to what price. That's the other aspect.
That is very fantastic. Thank you so much, Dirk. You know, this is one thing that we have always seen, we have enjoyed since we had our partnership with Cyphermar. I think weekly we get these updates from Cyphermar showing us about the deep searches that are being carried out, looking at the deep the dark web, looking at the kind of information that is out there that organizations are getting leaked out, sometimes even without the organizations notice. Some information or data of their customers are actually available on sale. So it is very important to actually have more webinars like this that talk about these things, so the organizations are going to be aware of some of these things and take proactive steps in protecting what really matters to them. Thank you so much, Dirk, for all you have said so far. I would like to just speak quickly to our audience. Now, I would like to say thank you for everyone who is here, who is with us. Um, Thank you for joining again. And just so you have questions, you have any questions, you want something clarified, please do not hesitate to use the message box that is available on your screen, and we're going to try our best to ensure we answer those questions. Okay, so Dirk, back to you. Yeah, we on this call right now, we actually do have a lot of people cut across different industries. We
Mhm.
have people representing their CIOs. We have people from the who are CISOs. We have security engineers. We have people who are even in the business areas of the organizations. Now, I would like you to let us understand. Yeah, how exactly will, now that we've established the basis of this conversation, now that we've established what these IABs are, who they are, the kind of assets you're looking for, would you first of all talk about quickly about privileged accounts? We have
Sure.
people who are in the business area, okay, who may not really get it clearly. So just talk about the privileged accounts, exactly what they are. You already expressed that they are like the golden keys, but just talk briefly about that. Then we delve into how Cypherma and partnering with Cypherma is going to help organizations protect themselves against all of these threats and threat actors that are available to steal data and cause havoc to organizations.
Sure.
Thank you.
Sure. Just a brief explanation. In IT, when it comes to user administration, we understand three different types of user accounts. One kind or one type is the regular user. That is someone like an accountant being able to authenticate, log into the laptop, start their business applications, and work with the business application in the context of their role as an accountant. The next level is what we call the privileged account or a privileged user. A privileged user is someone who has advanced permissions in the IT infrastructure more than just the regular user. And that is because, for instance, think of a developer. A developer is asked to create an application or to manage an application. So for that, they need to have some extended or advanced privileges because they need to sometimes administrate or deploy something which a regular user is not allowed to. So briefly said, the privileged user has elevated permissions more than the regular user, but less than the administrative user. And that's the third category. An administrative user has full privileges. He's able to have complete access without limitations to servers, to clients, to devices. And this is important then to understand when we're talking about the initial access brokerage of privileged and administrative accounts, because once the credentials like username and password are shared with threat actors, they do have that complete access to your infrastructure or to parts of your infrastructure, and then they are able to do whatever they want. Because on the other hand, it will not be noticed because they are operating in the security context of a proven account, which is first of all taken for normal, right? And that's the great risk. So unlike other hacking operations where unauthorized access is trying to be achieved, we are now talking about an authorized access, which doesn't raise any red flags.
That's right. That's right. Thank you so much, Dirk. Thank you so much, Dirk. Now, I'm sure if you're just joining us, please do not hesitate to use the question box. We'll be happy to answer all your questions. So, Dirk, at this point, I would like you to please point out how exactly would Cyphermar help an organization to be a step ahead of the bad guys, to protect their assets. All right.
Yeah.
So please tell us how exactly would Cyphermar help us protect?
Yeah, sure. So what we do, and I think this picture is a good starting point to explain that. So what we are doing is actually we are observing the threat landscape. So we are infiltrating the darknet, the dark web, but also the surface and the deep web. You know, everyone is talking about the dark web or the darknet as that evil place, and you know, this is where all the shady things are happening, and this is not exactly true. Because you also find malicious activities in surface web and deep web. You just need to know where and how to look at it. And this is what we do. So we're taking care of all these three layers of the web, just to make sure that we're able to identify the shady corners where threat actors are operating. And you can take an analogy out of the real life. If you think about, let's say, a normal police organization trying to prevent any kind of criminal activities, for instance, car theft, they try to also infiltrate. They know who are their suspects. They know where they are residing, where they're working, living, walking, where they spend time, maybe with other criminals. And this is where they try to infiltrate these to get access to information. Is it spoken information? Is it shared information? Is it visible information? And this is what we do as well. So we have technology which allows us to infiltrate these kind of, let's say, shady areas, so that we're able to track and follow, first of all, identify, then track and follow the threat actors to understand who they are, how they group. With that, we're able also to infiltrate and observe not only out of the dark web, but also other platforms like Telegram groups, even enclosed groups, or on invitation-only groups, to make sure that we are perceived as one of theirs, to make sure that we're able to absorb that information which is of relevance. And with that, we're creating a huge data lake. And that data lake is then used, for the research, which is, for instance, the result here. Again, I also can share this slide deck then afterwards with you so that you can get an understanding of IAB and how that works, that there is a balanced buyer's market. Out of this research, we're able to provide very precise and personalized information to our customers. To answer that simple question, as I've raised to the beginning, how attractive or non-attractive are you? So we're able to understand the risk exposition of an organization because we are able to execute attack surface discovery. We're able to execute vulnerability intelligence upon the attack surface discovery. So we're not only telling customers, hey, you've got that particular host, and this is the list of the CVEs we've identified. We're also able, because we have that observation result, we're also able to correlate that towards the most imminent risk situations where we say, well, out of this 17 vulnerabilities, these 3 are the ones you should be scared about the most, because these are the ones which are currently exploited by this list of threat actors. Yeah, so it gives it not only gives you the information, it gives you also the very precise information, personalized information, why and how you can identify and mitigate the risk. Right now, with that, we're talking about a possible risk. Yeah, so it is the likelihood, because as we are running through the attack surface discovery, actually what we're doing is we're doing nothing else than copying a reconnaissance approach of threat actors. With that, we're able to tell organizations, if you update this system with a security update or hotfix or whatever there might be applicable, you won't gain the interest of threat actors. And this is what organizations actually want. They don't want to prevent an incoming attack. They don't want to be attacked. And this is where we help organizations.
Thank you, Dirk. Now, in clear terms, yeah, for people who may be joining us just now. Now, what you're saying is this: that Cypherma, in order to be better positioned or to be best positioned to provide security and adequate protection to clients or to organizations, you have to act somehow, associate somehow with the bad guys. All right, we somehow infiltrate their networks, in their Telegram channels, their hacker forums, their marketplaces, just to see the kind of information and data that is coming in, so that we can use that as intel to advise our customers. Is that correct? Oh, fantastic! I think that is a good approach to security and protection to our customers. So this goes out to our customers out there, because sometimes you see some of these platforms available where you can, put in the domain of a particular business, and you're trying to see those domains, those applications scan through the deep and the surface web, and they're trying to find out where your domains are being mentioned, to tell you, hey, we found your data, or we found your leak, we found your credentials on this hacker place, on this hacker forum, etc. And then hence you should take proactive measures. One question I would like to ask here is this: do you tend to have false positives, or do you tend to, some of this data that you tend to get, from those forums, etc.? Are there some that we have encountered that are considered not really valid or not really serious? Have we had such kind of encounters using Cypherma?
Mirko, this is a very tricky question. And as I am a tech guy, I'm bluntly honest with you. There are false positives, because for a simple reason, they are not avoidable. That means that once we have access to specific information and we generate data out of this, which is then published in our portal towards the customer, so that they understand that there are risk situations. Yes, we can't avoid false positives, because in certain cases you need to think about the algorithms which are executed to query within our data lake. And sometimes it's just let's say a keyword search, a simple keyword search, where any result is brought up. Yeah. So if you think about the simple search phrase of able, yeah, ABLE, that
Mhm.
could be a company name. It could also be then being used in reference of threat actor conversations to talk about able as the company. But now you
Mhm.
need to think about, okay, so able is also part of many, many words in the English language. Yeah?
Sure. Sure.
And this is the reason for false positives. Our engine underneath, and we're currently in transition from machine learning to deep learning, is able to identify such to a very high level of quality,
Mhm.
but we're not free from exclusions. Yeah.
Absolutely.
So there will be
Thank you.
now and then a false positive, but we're open to this. So if you as an MSSP or if your customers um, identify such false positives, they can easily report this back to us, and we take care of that to improve the DL algorithms to make sure that this kind of abstract situation will not happen again.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Dirk. We really appreciate that. I think we are really happy with the value that Cypherma has to, add to organizations who tend to partner with you. And then we're happy to be partners with you. We at Ethnos, we're happy to partner with you because we see the level of deep learning, the level of deep researches that Cypherma puts, into the quality of work. We see the kind of deliverables every week. We see new trends, new attacks, new ransomwares. We see all of that. And I can
Yeah.
say with all confidence that uh, partnering with you is one of the great things that any organization would want to do. So at this point, I would like you to please proceed with your presentation. I mean, I can see something quite interesting over here. Please go on and
Yeah.
talk to us
Um,
about it.
yes, I've just clicked through the presentation by purpose. I mean, in the matter of time, it was just a visual service to the audience. But this slide here. This is related to your question about what we do and how we do this, and what is the benefit out of it. So this, for
Great.
instance, is just a very, very brief abstract of a risk dossier, what we create about threat actors, like Busterlord in this case. I can switch later into our platform, and you will see that the dossier about the threat actor is much more comprehensive.
Mm,
This is just for demonstration purposes here, so
mm,
that we're able to understand threat actors, and we're able to create the typology of a threat actor to make sure that we also understand what potential risk is generated from that particular threat actor, but we're also able to provide this kind of information towards our customers and then also to our MSSP partners, um, so that they're able also to understand what is this particular information worth and valuable in the context of the customer itself. And that is important to understand, because I don't know how many threat actor groups are out there. You would like to know about that particular 4, 5, 6 threat actor groups, which are a risk to you as an organization and therefore a risk to your business. And this is the other aspect. You need to understand as an organization that threat acting is a risk to the business. It's not a risk to the technology, it's a risk to the business, because a malware attack results into downtime of your digital resources. You can't operate your business. You're not approachable from the external, you're not able to operate from the internal, and it costs you a lot of time, money, and effort to revert back into an operational mode, which is valuable to you as an organization from a business perspective. Ransomware, same. Thinking about the situation where, for instance, just recently was one of the largest automotive suppliers being attacked with a ransomware. They were non-operational for weeks because 40 terabyte of data has been encrypted and exfiltrated and put on for sale. And afterwards, and that's the quadruple extortion. And finally, um, they've sliced and diced the data to find out the crown jewels, and they sold them explicitly for a high value.
That's a lot.
Yeah, so this is how the situation should be perceived, because it's a business risk. Now, if we look at one aspect here, for instance, so this was something where we were following one of the threat actors. Now you can see right now there are about so that number has been overrolled just recently, but around 840 data sets which contain 40 billion credential sets. And we're just talking about credential sets. And if you think about the world's population in numbers and think about this, it's an interesting number. And these are individual records, by the way. And then we have also the situation where and this relates back to the supply chain thinking of the kill chain, where you also have the buyers. They are specifically asking for either IoT exploits, zero-day exploits, first-day exploits. They're also asking for situations where they have access, like VPN access with privileged access. And you can see here there are a number of organizations worldwide which are referenced to. Same here. So there is a market for that, and that is the important part. And another aspect is, and this is now interesting also to understand, how professional threat actors are operating nowadays. It is a business. What you see here is the advertising to create a spear phishing authentication site as a service. And you can see there the services for Google, Microsoft, iCloud, Dropbox authentications. So the website where you and I would then enter our credentials to, we think, have access to that particular resource. So this is where they start working with. You can see there is a packages of 10, 20, and 31 days for just nothing. And
That's a lot.
Yeah. The other part is, and that's interesting, it's a full service, including advertising and demo. Not sure if that comes over through that session. I hope that video plays. Now, what you see here is an advertising video. This is where Evil Proxy is demonstrating the skills to create in just like seconds a sign-in web page claiming to be a Google sign-in UI.
But it's not really Google.
It's not Google, no. It's just a lookalike. That's it.
And you see, like you said, they're a lot more professional now, because you can hardly see the difference.
Right. Now, funny part is you can find this on YouTube. This is how they are now taking their own expertise to market. Including additional services, as you can see here, protection. They are already aware of security strategies and the execution of strategies. And they are then preparing themselves and their services for that. So they advertise and also add, as you can see, bot protection, virtualization detection, automation detection, multi-streaming as preventive protection to their own services right from the start. And that is to a degree, it's a bit scary. And like every other sales and buying situation, you also have, like on Amazon, the ones who are then leaving recommendations for a product. So the contributors. So there is a lot of things to do. Is it possible to break the kill chain? Yes. For instance, with the right approach to proactively to proactively operate and predict situations. But is it also possible for threat actors to optimize and rationalize? Yes, unfortunately, because with initial access brokerage, that is something where threat actors have instantly privileged access to individual IT assets, if not to the complete IT infrastructure of an organization. And that's perfect to them. And here is another aspect of this. I mean, we're all now following with big curiosity what's happening in the space of generative AI. So maybe the one or other of us has already tried ChatGPT or other AI platforms. This is a new player, and this is a new accelerator of threat to us as cyber defenders for many reasons. For one reason is code optimization. A malware script is not a script. It's actually an application. Ransomware, the same. And threat actors, something we've observed already, are using generative AI platforms to improve the quality of their malware and ransomware code significantly. Not only significantly is the quality acceleration, it is also shortening the development time frame. One aspect. So when I was talking about the weeks and months of preparation for reconnaissance and weaponization with generative AI, we're talking about days, unfortunately. And there are other aspects to this as well. Consolidate reconnaissance is actually a business analysis where a threat actor group is looking at an organization, trying to figure out how valuable is a threat to them for us. Because they not only need to find out, are there any weak spots with which they can execute the weaponization and infiltrate and deploy and then execute. It is also the question, what's the effort worth? So they do a very precise business analysis. So they are conducting informations and creating a dossier about an organization, which also includes information about financial positioning, debit, revenue, and with that they also give recommendations to say, well, if a ransomware attack is successful, you might claim 3, 4, 5% of revenue, because that is something we understand is available immediately to pay ransom. Yeah? It's quite interesting sometimes to see. It's quite scary to see.
That's a lot, you know.
Yeah. So
Please
finally,
go
the
on.
question: what can I do? What can you do to prevent yourself? Yeah, external threat landscape management. Threat intelligence, as we provide it to organizations, is in our opinion, but also in the opinion of security practitioners, which are not related to any vendor, is a key method for threat analysis, just to understand what kind of possible threats are out there, what could affect me, because you would like to leave it to what could affect me instead of what did affect me. Obviously, it's an enrichment towards zero trust models. MFA, authentication methods, is also crucial. And account usage on demand. The problem we have right now is about 65% of credentials which are related to privileged or administrative accounts and being identified as initial access brokers are insider jobs. And that's the risk of the organization as well. So what is an insider job? If I am a grumpy employee of an organization which I don't like to work for any longer, maybe something has gone completely wrong, I don't feel appreciated, I'm about to leave, whatsoever. There are multiple various reasons for the grumpiness. We see and observe a lot of these offerings from internal employers or service partners with their access. Yeah. So you need to think about a specific methodology how to operate with higher privileged accounts, like privileged accounts and administrative accounts. And on demand is one aspect, but also the non-personal aspect to this. So you would not grant administrative permissions to an employee. You would create an account to which others need to request the usage, so that you have a better monitoring and auditing of these sensitive accounts, and obviously also then behavior analytics, which is also important, because as I said earlier, if someone is also authenticating with credentials which are active and valid, there is no unusual behavior at first. So you need to be more precise on the behavior analytics. So these are the ones I would like to point out.
Great. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Dirk. Your slide, I don't know, is it supposed to be moving? Because what we're seeing, oh great. Now it has changed. Great. We needed to see this. Thank you so much. This is quite fantastic, Dirk. We must say many thank you to you for taking this time out to talk to us about this. I'm sure, as well as every other person, we can see that Cypherma has so much to offer, so much value to offer to organizations. Right here on this call, we have people who work in banks, who work in financial institutions, and even insurance and some legal environments as well. And I'm sure this cuts across all these niches, all these industries, because data is now the new oil. It's now the new oil. The people are looking for data. People want to buy data. People are ready to be paid to steal data. And it is important for organizations like ours who are in this part of the world to be a step ahead of these guys, to be proactive. One problem we have seen over time is some organizations who tend to be reactive to some of these things. They don't do anything until they have been hacked, or maybe an organization within their industry has been hacked, which is very terrible. It's such a bad way of approaching security. We advise that organizations be proactive, take proactive steps, have applications like what we are looking at today, have the knowledge, encourage employee to learn, have proper security awareness within their structure, so that they can all be aware, cutting across their people, their processes, their technologies. They can all be a step ahead of the bad guys. So thank you very much, Dick. Please go on. I see you have the dashboard up.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've just
Please.
quickly switched to the dashboard just to also provide some further information about what we provide or present to the customers or users of our platform. Now, Cypherma has consolidated different aspects of threat intelligence. So, for instance, you might find vendors who are specialized on attack surface discovery. You might find vendors which are strong in vulnerability management or digital risk profiling and discovery. So our understanding of threat intelligence is a consolidated view and a cross-correlated result set. For a simple reason, you need to understand that threats and impending threats are highly sophisticated. They're executed highly sophisticated. It is not the simple approach as it was like 25 or 20 or even 10 or 15 years ago, where an open port scan was executed, and then it was then the try and error of threat actors to somehow exploit the open port, for instance. It is much more sophisticated and complicated to a degree to be orchestrated, and therefore the reason is given, in our opinion, that a consolidated view across all these pillars should be presented within one platform. And as you can see here, so these top three tiles, attack surface, vulnerabilities, and attack methods, is all grouped around the technological aspects of impending threats, where we're looking at different aspects, the traditional vulnerabilities, pointing out what kind of assets have been identified, and also then pointing out, as explained before, the list of CVEs being identified, so the vulnerabilities being identified, but also pointing out which are the ones you should take care of. And that's the important part. Now, so with the other end of our end-to-end service, we're also giving you then the access to what we call the risk dossiers, or the dossier function itself. And the dossier function applies to every kind of type of information, like in this case, threat actors. So you can inform yourself and drill down and dig deeper into all these kind of information, what we can provide. And this is then completely an analysis. We're also taking care, obviously, of other aspects of infrastructure, like certificates, like configurations, open ports analysis, reputation. Yeah, how are third parties looking at your approachable IT assets? So this is the situation out of the perspective of the organization itself. And then there is the abstract. And this is where we are in advance to our competitors. We're able to point out, okay, so this is your IT infrastructure. Yeah, it's all identified, discovered, analyzed, all good. But then we're stepping away a bit, and then we're broadening the context and the scope. And this is, for instance, where we are also able to list, for instance, the vulnerabilities of importance. Now, if you look at this, you can see there is a split tab divided into global and client specific. Now, you can see we're talking about 11,500 vulnerabilities currently identified, documented, in use, and exploited, the one or other. And you can see also it's vulnerabilities, it's also zero-day vulnerabilities, it's exploits and things like. As a practitioner, you don't want to go through all these 11,500 plus vulnerabilities to understand which are the ones should be of interest for you. This is our job. And this is where we are breaking it down and saying, okay, out of your attack surface discovery, we've identified these 14 vulnerabilities as the most critical threats, possible threats to you. Take care. And again, the dossier function is the key differentiating function, where we're able to point out, okay, so what is it about? So we're not only telling you what is a vulnerability about, it is also that we are referencing towards an exploit, to phishing campaigns, to the IP address of your asset, which is affected by this, the correlated campaign, the threat actor or threat actors exploiting that particular vulnerability with which malware. So it gives you much more context to a critical situation with which you are able to make better decisions. So what we're actually doing is we are creating facts for you upon which you can make fact-based decisions instead of just guessing. So this is the technological aspect. And then also we have the digital risk discovery. So this is all about your organization, your business, which is happening outside of your secured infrastructure and environment. So you have your parameters, you have your boundaries, and everything which is inside those boundaries is completely under control. You have your monitoring, you have endpoint protection, you have your applications integrated into, let's say, identity and access management procedures. All these is good and fine. But what you're not aware of is everything which is happening beyond your borders, beyond your parameters, out in the wilderness of the cyberspace, which is considered to be a risk to you, like impersonation and infringement. If someone, as a threat actor in terms of the campaign conduction, is then creating lookalike domains of your organization, even though going further and say, well, let's copy the web shop, let's copy their web presence, just to make sure that everything looks similar to your organization, so that we can then, in the next step, execute a fraud campaign where we are starting then spamming and spear phishing maybe the customers of that organization. Everything is then happening outside of your organization, but you're affected. And you need to know about this. And you need to know about this movements outside of your organization in advance, because with that, you're able then to take corrective actions, like take down service requests to make sure that this particular squatted or lookalike domain is taken off. And this domains is not only a resource we can take care of, as well as we can take care of social handlers. It is unbelievable how many squatted accounts in, let's say, Twitter, TikTok, Reddit, Facebook are existing towards organizations. And some of them have been created for test purposes, but there are also accounts created for that particular malicious objective to harm the organization. Also, then understanding what kind of information has been leaked out of your organization or the context, like leaked credentials, compromised user details. If there are phishing campaigns ongoing towards you, if there are dark web mentionings of your organizations, if there is ransomware data somewhere available out there, down to the point where we're able to index and categorize the different types of data which is available about your organization, your assets, your products, your people, what you can think of, just to make sure that you are aware of this. And again, being able to reach out to the service providers and say, well, dear GitHub, this is something which we don't like, which is a risk to our organization, which doesn't belong here. Make sure that you close that repository. Right. So these are then also then the following actions we can then advise and also take care of in certain cases. And that was it in a brief nutshell. And I would appreciate if you reach out to Miracle, for instance, if you have interest in the capabilities and discuss further in details about the capabilities of our platform. We're happy to share that with you.
That's right. Thank you so much, Dirk. I mean, a very fantastic one there. I would like to also point out to our listeners that, of course, like I said, we are partners. We're proud partners of Cypherma. And if you're interested in seeing how all these work, you want a demo within your environment, we're happy to onboard you on our platform and even do a demo for you. You see how it works. Cypherma is quite robust. When I tell you robust, it's actually quite robust. We don't need so much integrations. All that is required is just your domain name. Is that correct, Dirk? Just your main domain, just your domain. That is all that is provided. We don't need a dedicated server. We don't need anything at all. It is all cloud-based. All you need to provide us is your domain and just your username and your username. An account to be created. You see all the intelligence. You see all of this. I tried to look up a particular organization yesterday, and what I could see online about that organization was just so much. All right, Dirk, there's something I wanted you to point out on this dashboard. I saw the part where username and passwords were seen. Do you want to go there quickly and just talk about it just briefly?
Sure.
Yeah.
There you go.
Please just talk about this. These passwords and username, where are they from? Are they actually real? Those kind of conversations. Just talk to us about them.
Yeah, sure. So what we're looking at right now, as of compromised user details, are account details, so account name and password, which are not necessarily exfiltrated out of that particular company. It is the situation where the employees have used their corporate email address as an asset to create a profile at any third-party service. Is it LinkedIn? Is it Microsoft? Is it Adobe? Whatsoever. And out of these third-party platforms, these credential sets have been breached. Now, what is the risk out of it? First of all, to understand, if you're looking at what is it here, more than 6,500 entries, about 85% of that is rubbish. For a simple reason, and that is due and related to the business principle of leak credentials, the business model. Actors are ongoingly rearranging data sets, and they take whatever they can get hold of. And you will find a lot of these credential sets out of breaches from 2015, 2016, maybe even earlier. There is no possibility for threat actors, and actually they don't want to spend the effort into quality gates to make sure that they have this high profile and latest leak credentials available. They just sell them in bulk. So for a data set with 100,000 records, you pay something like $100 US. It's incredibly cheap. and it's on the buyer then to determine which are the ones with value and which are the ones who are just crap, because that's penny assets, right? But the other aspect is the remaining 10 to 15% of lead credentials are the ones at risk because they are up to date. Second thing is, so just to give you that particular information, my history, I've spent about 15 years in identity and access management. And when it comes to the topic of passwords and user behavior and policies, the regular user is reusing a well-known password over and over again, as long as possible, wherever possible.
True.
So once, let's say, an Adobe account is breached with a password, it is just simple try and error for a threat actor to validate that password towards the corporate. Because every corporate, meanwhile, has something like a webmail service available, so that their employees can have access to their mailbox while they're on the road. So they just try. And I did this upon request for a customer just recently, and we've taken about 10 accounts, and the 5th account just was a hit. Yeah, so that was a working account. This is one aspect. The other aspect, and that is also important to understand. Right now, we're talking about the infiltration, but these users are possibly also compromisable on different aspects. So if you look at the source, and actors look at those, the individual can be personally compromisable, and there is no technical expertise required because also one of our customers, a large organization with some substantial impact on world economy, we found accounts on Tinder. Well, we didn't, threat actors did. So as a source, that was Tinder.com. Now think about the implication out of it. Me as a threat actor, I would look up that individual. And if I go to Facebook, for instance, and I find out, well, it's a happily married male, female, family, things like, I would wonder why there is an account on Tinder. And I would reach out to that individual as a threat actor and say, well, hey, I'm sorry to tell you, but you've been identified on Tinder. And that could be an interesting situation then. Yeah.
For the spouse. Sure.
Exactly. Yeah. So this individual is compromisable on a social level. And that's the risk as well. And as an organization, you would like to understand. You'd like to know, because with that, you're able then to have a chat with that particular individual and say, well, at least don't do that ever again, or whatever implications may result out of that on the employment level. Yeah,
that's right. That's right.
And simply said, me as an organization, I would think about implementing multi-factor authentication if I don't have it already. Yeah.
That's right.
So,
go on. We're just speaking. Go on.
Yeah. Are there any questions? I think.
Okay. Yes. Thank you so
right?
much, Derek. We have a couple of questions. Let me just go. Okay. Someone says, what makes CypherMar better than other similar tools like SOC Radar? Do you want to take that question?
Yes. The data quality. That's one of the key aspects. The data quality and the feature richness. With us, you have access to all the data, regardless, including the source relations. So if we come across dark web mentionings or sentiments about an organization, you would find also then the onion link. So there's one aspect. The other aspect is we are providing facts. We're not raising or triggering scare or anxiety. I think what the one other may have observed when I was presenting the dashboard, we're giving risk scores, and the risk scores are in range from 1 to 10, where 1 is the best and 10 is the worst you can think of. And we, And that was the one way why I referred to that particular result set also as facts oriented. You would like to understand how to improve your situation. And you would like to have facts which are supporting that particular procedures. With that, you're able to then to also understand where did I improve. So, for instance, if we come across a decent set of vulnerabilities on a specific asset, and then you start work on mitigating those vulnerabilities by applying updates, patches, hot fixes, and whatsoever, that will be automatically recognized and reflected in the portal. With that, you're able also then to understand which are the ones you should then also take care of. And you can also prove to your senior and to your management saying, well, that was the situation, let's say last week, and this is where we are now, and this is how we improved. So this is one aspect. The other aspect is we're also pointing out what is good. So risk score 1 is also very, very present in our platform. Because you need to have a feedback upon any kind of security related decisions you've made. Us from the outside with our platform, we don't have the ability to understand any decision making process within your organization. But at least we can give you the feedback on the results to say, well, that particular decision has led to something good, or this particular decision might be reworked. And this, I think, differentiates us very briefly from others, as well as the ability that you are looking at a consolidated view of multiple threat intelligence topics with all there is.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Derek. In fact, I must say thank you again. Now, like you said, like you clearly pointed out, we as MSSPs over time, we have had to explore a couple of solutions like yours. And one thing that I find, that is quite distinct with Cypherma is the fact that we have good quality data. All right. It's not just noise. It's not just information trying to create anxiety or fear, because some of them you try to see, you are notified of a credential leak, but you try to drill down and you realize it's from a combo list of maybe 2015 or 2010. All right, it's not actually an actionable information. It's probably no longer valid. All right, but with Cypherma, many times I realize that they are actionable because you can actually see the source. That area where you can actually see the source of that particular leak is actually very critical to me. And I say that is something that is quite valuable and one thing that makes Cypherma a lot better than other players within the industry. I think we have another question. So thank you very much. Thank you very much, Dirk. Do we have any other question? So just before we round up, like Dirk has clearly said, some of the practices that you may want to put in mind is, use strong passwords, change as an organization, ensure you have a policy that enables you to change your passwords frequently. Sometimes we do it, monthly. Some other times, some organizations want to do it after 90 days. But I think the earlier, the better, at least monthly, after every 30 days, you change your passwords and use strong passwords. These are ways that you can actually, as an organization, protect yourself against some of issues, some of these attacks. And also you want to, educate employees about phishing and other social engineering attacks. These are different ways where threat actors and the bad guys want to get into your network and steal data. And another point I would like to highlight, just like Dirk has actually said, has to do with you monitoring the dark web, monitoring the surface web, being proactive, doing actual threat hunting. And that is something that Cypherma, partnering with Cypherma, can do for you. So, like I said earlier, you are interested in what you have seen today. You can see how rich the dashboard is. You can see how rich the level of and the quality of information that Cypherma provides for you is. So you want to have a look and feel of it. please let us know. I will be happy to carry out a demo for you in your environment, and you can see the value that Cypherma can bring to your organization. So I want to say thank you again to Dirk. Dirk, do you have something else to say to us before
No,
we
well, actually a lot, but I think we're running out of time. And as said, if there is further interest, reach out to us. Yeah, reach out to your contact at Ethnos IT. Reach out to anybody who knows us. We're happy to help you.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you so much, Dirk. Guys, I would like to say thank you to everyone who has joined this session. Thank you so much, Dirk, for taking this time out to talk with us. I mean, we try to schedule this over time, and then one issue or the other, but one way or the other, you made this happen. All of us from Ethnos are really grateful, and we say thank you to you for joining us today. It has been quite informative, really, really, really informative. Okay, someone is asking if we can get the recorded version. Yes, I believe you registered. So yes, the link is going to be made available to everyone who registered, and you're going to get it. So thank you so much for that question. Was that Chia Dozier? Thank you so much, and thanks everyone who have joined. I want to believe you have gained one value or the other from this session. Thank you for taking your time out to be with us. I mean, it's over an hour, and you were here with us. I want to say thank you, and we look forward to providing you much more more information sessions like this. You are interested in what you have seen, please, we are happy and more than happy to talk to you more about it, and get your organizations and all your assets well protected. So thank you very much, everyone. And then that will be it from me. Dirk, anything from you? Any parting word?
No, nothing. Actually, just to wish you a very nice weekend and take some time to relax.
Fantastic. And you too, Dirk.
Thank
That
you.
was very helpful. Thank you so much. Enjoy your weekend. Enjoy your weekend, everyone. We'll see you some other time. Bye.
Thank you. Bye bye.
All right. Bye bye, Dirk. Okay.